Hello traders, Gary Wagner here, just after 1 o'clock in Honolulu, 6 o'clock in New York. It is Wednesday, last day of February 28th, 2018, and this is the Daily Report for Gold and Silver. Following yesterday's testimony by Chairman Powell and tomorrow's testimony to the Senate, we have seen U.S. equities come under tremendous pressure, with precious metals holding their own and moving very, very little. Gold, for example, closed at $13.20, which is a net increase of about $1 from yesterday's close. Silver up slightly at $16.43, and the U.S. dollar up about 0.33%, up 31 points at 90.59. Now, the same tepid rises cannot be said with U.S. equities. 380-point decline in the Dow Jones Industrial Average, 25,029 points. Of the indices that we follow, the NASDAQ had the least drawdown. Bitcoin sold off slightly, down $150 and $250 at $10,380 and $10,430 in both of the futures contracts. Yesterday's testimony by Jerome Powell clearly signaled a continuation of the current monetary policies that had been instituted by Yellen and the Federal Reserve throughout last year, and in fact, statements made by Powell that his economic outlook has changed from December. In fact, we could see an acceleration of rate hikes, specifically from 3 to 4 hikes being initiated this year. And I believe it was the statement of a new and redefined outlook that really shook up the financial markets yesterday, with the Dow closing down approximately 300 points and both gold and silver selling off tremendously. Today, gold is trading up about 60 cents, 13.1910, basis the most active April's contract. However, we have seen some substantial technical chart damage that we spoke about briefly yesterday. One was our support trend line, which is simply drawn from a series of lows, was clearly broken, and the second technical indication that there was some chart damage was the fact that we had a closing price both yesterday as well as today that is sitting below the 50-day moving average. That, to me, is signaling the potential for further decline in the precious metals markets. In terms of my current forecast for gold, we are just above the 38% retracement level, which currently resides at 1322. We can see that we have clearly closed below that for the last 2 days. That changes our current levels of technical support, which I believe currently reside between 1310, which is the low of this particular candle and day, down to about 1302, the 50% retracement of this long rally. And traders, it also changed our fundamental outlook from the market going forward. Statements made by Powell in which he forecast a much more robust economic period of growth than he had anticipated in December was in fact a game changer, which I believe resulted in dramatically lower precious metals pricing along with equities pricing. It was also one of the key reasons that our last trade did result in a loss, because my assumption was that we would not hear that type of testimony from Chairman Powell. And in this instance, I was absolutely incorrect. So traders, the key right now is tomorrow, Powell will go and testify in front of the Senate, and whether or not his testimony will continue to put downside pressure in not only the precious metals, but also U.S. equities. As far as silver goes, we did identify a break to the downside yesterday as the price point actually got to the apex of this compression triangle as it broke to lower pricing. At the same time, it must be noted that the lows achieved were well below the 61.8% retracement. However, the close was just at that particular price point. Today's activity, although below the former support line created from the compression triangle, it did trade above the 61.8% retracement at 1635. If we see a further decline, as I said, I do believe we will see silver pricing track to as low as $15.85, which is the 78% retracement. Bitcoin futures today closed off by about $170, but most importantly remains above 10,000, currently trading at $10,530. We have seen very, very muted activity over the last couple of days, and that is after rising literally from 6,000 with one shallow correction taking it back to about 9,300. The question is, will we see Bitcoin go ahead and challenge our current resistance area at roughly 11,500? If it cannot, our current support level would stay intact at 9,300, and our current resistance level would stay intact at 11,500. Traders, we are between two testimonies, the one given to the House yesterday and tomorrow to the Senate. While it is not anticipated that there's going to be any dramatic change from his testimony, traders, anything can happen. We will look to see what is said tomorrow, but I do believe we will continue to see stable to lower pricing in the precious metals markets. This has been Gary Wagner, wishing you as always good trading. We'll talk to you tomorrow for another daily update and review. Bye-bye.